Hello, everybody. I hope you are doing well. I want to thank you for attending my first Hey Docs webinar. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jill Allen. I am the owner of Jill Allen and Associates. I am an orthodontic consultant with over 30 years of experience in this industry. I started my journey many years ago as a sterilization assistant and was able to work my way up into being a lead trainer as an orthodontic assistant. Then I moved my way up into the front of the house and worked in every position in an orthodontic office. I was very lucky to have worked with very progressive orthodontists in my early years that really believed in continuing education and took me to see some of the sages of our industry in the consulting webinars when they were really in their prime. This is what ignited my inner consultant, and because of that, pushed me to where I am now. In my younger years, I used to carry around a journal while I was working and make notes about the systems. I had to learn what was going on in an orthodontic office, and I felt like if I made those notes, I would be able to see what worked and what really worked. I might have been a bit of an ortho nerd, and that's okay. I'm glad to embrace that. Just over 16 years ago, I started my consulting career and learned very quickly that I had to learn a very different skill set, one that did not include brackets or wires or trays or how to manage people or even how to run an office. I had to learn how to be an orthopreneur and found out very quickly that what it takes to build a business. This is what the School of Hard Knocks taught me, and the things I didn't learn in college classes or during my days working in an orthodontic practice. I adopted a figure it out mindset and pushed through the obstacles I was sure would send me into financial ruin. I tried, I prayed, I pivoted, I tried again, I prayed, I pivoted, and you guessed it, I tried again. But each time I tried, I gained knowledge and confidence in myself, as well as my processes, and eventually started seeing success along the way in my consulting business. This is what took me from being a baby consultant to a consultant that focuses on startup practices and really now helps orthodontists all over the United States start their practices. It's stories like these that I want to hear, and I think you do too. We all see the successes of major players in our industry, but how did they get there? What trials did they face? What decisions did they make? And how exactly did they help build orthodontics into the thriving industry it is today? Hey Docs is going to be all about these stories. Before we get started with our first story of this series, I want to encourage all of you to put your questions and answers or your questions into the question and answer box on the side here. And we will be answering questions when we get to the end of this webinar. So let's get ready to go. Today, it is my really great honor to introduce Dr. Anthony Bonavoglia, founder and CEO of SmileSuite. In 2007, Dr. B built his orthodontic practice by focusing on the highest level of customer service. He was voted an up-and-coming entrepreneur in Hudson Valley, New York. Dr. B recognized that a thriving practice cannot survive on its reputation alone and saw the need for consistency in service and systems that would allow orthodontists to thrive in today's customer service environment. And so beyond building a thriving practice, SmileSuite was born. Welcome, Dr. B.
Thank you. How are you doing, Jill?
I am doing great. We also have the fabulous Kristen Chanowski, who is the National Account Executive for SmileSuite with us as well. Welcome, Kristen.
Thanks for having me, Jill.
Absolutely. All right, so we know you guys make a pretty fabulous team. But there are a few other people on your executive team now, right? And one of those people, I just want to let everyone know, is me. And I am super excited to be a partner in the SmileSuite company.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you as part of it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Anthony. So I am super excited, as we all are, which is why we are all here, to find out not only about SmileSuite, but I also want you to take me back kind of to the beginning, because I love the success stories of orthodontic startups. So kind of take me back to the beginning and kind of talk and walk us through what was it like when you got started? How did you get started in your orthodontic journey, and what brought you to now and owning not only a thriving orthodontic practice, but SmileSuite as well?
Yeah, well, thanks. And thanks for having me on. I love your introduction talking about kind of the highs and the lows of building a business, building a practice. And, certainly my story is probably similar in that sense, but I had somewhat of an unconventional start to my orthodontic career. Just as my background, I graduated from University of Minnesota in 2006. That was my orthodontic program. And, as a young resident, I knew everything. Right. I had it down, and I knew I was gonna buy a practice, and it was gonna be great right out of my residency. And I had a practice in mind and was negotiating, I guess you could say. I mean, negotiating is very loose term, but being that I didn't know anything, and it fell apart on me as I was getting near my graduation.
I've never heard this story before. I'm just
no, that's unique. Yeah, that was unique. And so I was left at a point, graduating just summer of 2006 without really having a job, because I had kind of put all my eggs in one basket. And so I managed to find a job as an associate in Maryland in a rather busy practice, and moved there in around 2000, the end of the summer of 2006, and knew right away this was not for me. It was a very busy practice. It maybe didn't have, I don't want to say some of the standards, but just things that I just wasn't comfortable with. Again, I know this is sometimes not a unique story. And so immediately, I immediately started thinking, all right, I got to find something else. To be honest, I was somewhat disappointed. I almost felt like, and I had said this a lot during that year, where I said, if this is what private practice is like, I may have just wasted the last 10 years of my life. I really felt that way. And so what I knew right away was, for me, I had to have something where it was mine. I needed it to be mine from beginning to end. So again, went back on the trail trying to find a practice to buy. And what I wasn't appreciating at the time is, this is 2007 leading to 2008. There was a recession on the way, and people were starting to see it.
What we all know happened very soon.
Yeah. So 2007, I find another practice. I had seen a couple different practices, things falling through the cracks. Find a practice in Hudson Valley, New York, that I thought, this is it. This is going to work. I tell the doctor that I'm currently working for, at the end of this year, my contract is up. I don't think I'm going to extend it. I'm going to be moving. And this looks like this is it. I'm going to buy this practice. Everything's going to be great. And really, at the 11th hour, falls apart again. More so the selling doctor, I think, just with some of the economic changes that were happening, just decided this was not the right time. So I'm faced at this point with my wife, who's pregnant. I've got about 2 months left of work. I have no prospects. My wife's an occupational therapist. She's not a dentist, so she can find another job if we need to, but it's not a good place to be in. I have my rent is, my apartment is coming due in a couple of months. I mean, this is really like a crisis moment for me. And to the point where here I am at, I don't know, 25, 26, and I'm calling my parents and going, do you think we can move the junk out of the basement? I might need to move in, I mean, it's getting to that point. So in an act of desperation, I take out my yellow pages and I call all the orthodontists in the area. And I'm just like, hey, I need something. Is there any work? Can I even just sweep your floors? Is there anything I can do? So this one orthodontist in Hudson Valley, near where I was looking to move, says, you know what? Come on up. Let's talk. So I tell my wife, we're going to go and move. We're going to go visit this practice. She's like, well, what are we looking at? Are we looking at a job? Are we looking at maybe buying a practice? I have no idea. He said, come on up. That's all he said. I mean, it literally was that fast. Come on up. Here's my address, meet me on this day. So I'm like, okay. So we get in the car. It's a 7-hour drive. My wife's, I don't know how many months pregnant at this point. And so we meet with him and we go into his office, and it's a nice, the framework of the office is nice, but it's falling apart, right? It needs some work. And I sit down, and Dr. Michelle is his name. I sit down with him. I say, okay, what do we got? What do you got going on? He's like, I don't have a practice to sell you.
Oh,
okay.
7 hours?
Just drove 7 hours to hear that. So I said, okay, do you have a job for me? Is there? No, I don't have enough patience for that. I don't have enough patience for us to share. I was like, okay. I said, what do you have? What am I doing here? Right? So he goes, here's the deal. I've got this building. He goes, I decided years ago, I was just going to finish my last patient, shut the door, walk away. I was not going to sell my business. He didn't need to sell the business. He was fortunate enough, made a lot of right decisions. And he's like, I didn't want to pass my patients on to someone else. And his exact words to me was, figure something out.
Oh,
so,
I love that phrase.
Figure something out. So my wife's like, what did you do? I'm pregnant. We're driving 7 hours. So faced with not a lot of choices, I wrote up a proposal and I said to him, look, what if I pay you rent and let me try to start my business, my practice in your building? We'll share the building. It allows you to pay the rent, and as your patient base is dwindling, it at least gives you some supplemental income there. And I get started, right? You have a building, you have chairs you're not using. Granted, the X-ray machine was from the 60s. It was the machine you would sit in, and it would move the person around. If anybody remembers what that was like.
That's going old school.
We're going back, right? But it was something for me to do, and it would have been mine. Right. So he said, fine. He said, let's do it. So at that point, I had saved about $30,000 over the course of the year. And that's what we had in our savings account. And we moved. I didn't know a single person. I didn't have a patient waiting for me. There wasn't a dentist who knew I existed. And I was moving to this area. We didn't know anybody, and just said, you know what, we're just going to see what we can do. So from there, I just got to work, and I was busy 12 hours a day doing God knows what. I couldn't afford anything. I asked every single vendor, look, can you float me for a year? Let me just give me the equipment, and I'll hopefully be able to pay you back in a year. But I did not get a startup loan. I said, you know what, I'm going to do this with the $30,000 in the bank. And so I spent, hours in my car meeting with dentists, just trying to convince them, look, if you can send me one patient, if that patient doesn't come back and tell you they're happy, don't ever send me another patient. And what it did for me is, I had this old dilapidated bill. There's literally duct tape going up the stairs. And yeah. And, and what it did for me is it made me realize I can't depend on what I have. I don't have a beautiful office. Yep. I have to deliver in some way. Right. And so, and what did I offer people that other orthodontists couldn't? Because there were a number of other orthodontists in the area, some that had just recently moved too, is I had time. I had time. I did everything. You called, I answered the phone. I had it forwarded to my cell phone. So I carried it around with me.
You were Tony instead of.
Yeah, I was everything. I would walk them up. I would collect their payment. I couldn't afford a practice management system. So I did it on paper records. And, if they owed me if they had a bill, I had a paper ledger and I filled it out on the paper ledger. And just, even my folders were folders I got from Staples, and I used to print the labels on them because I couldn't afford like a nice folder.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, patients really didn't care. They had my attention. I mean, I did everything and they liked it. And I used that as my selling point, like you're getting me for everything. Granted, I was driving around personally in a 1996 Civic. My apartment was 750 square feet. And I did not have another job. I didn't have another job for 2 years. I felt like if I was going to commit to this and I was going to make this work, it required my attention. Granted, my wife, was able to work up until she gave birth to our daughter a few months later, and then she had to scale back. But, it just felt like I had to commit to it. My first year when I went to my accountant, I was so excited. We had made $100,000 that year. Not made, it wasn't income. That was what we produced. I thought I was so proud of that because this is what we had. This is what we had built. And he said to me, yeah, when you're ready to make some real money, let me know. I know some other orthodontists that I can hook you up with. I was devastated, but that's okay.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So it was a really kind of interesting start. But again, there wasn't a startup loan, which in hindsight, I don't know if that was a great idea, but working through the Great Recession, it was tough, it was tough, but I guess I learned a lot. I learned a lot about what patients are really looking for, at least in my opinion. I learned a lot about systems, that you really just have to have the right systems down to be efficient, because when you are the one-man show, you don't have time to be inefficient. You have to have things locked down. So it was interesting. A couple of years later, I had saved up enough money where I was able to buy the building. And then that was really my first loan I had taken out when I bought the building, and I was able to, at that point, take out a little extra to renovate it. And the business started picking up from there. It was a little unconventional.
Wow, that's great. And I love to hear this, because anybody who's on, and if you're one of my startups, or anyone that I've talked to, startups are my passion, and to see it bootstrapped from the beginning up is super exciting, and to see where you are today. So I just got to ask, tell me about the practice now. Speed us up and tell me, what kind of a practice, where are you at now, going into 2022?
Yeah, so it's still a solo practice. I don't have any associates. I don't have any partners. I've still retained that feeling of it needs to kind of come from me. We currently employ about 23 people.
23 from you doing it all. So if somebody's out sick, I bet you could still jump in and
I can, and I still do. I still turn chairs if I have to. If it means getting that patient in on time, I'm there turning the chairs. There's no job that I'm not willing to roll up my sleeves and do.
Yeah.
So we do about 4 million in production a year.
One doctor, 4 million a year.
That's one doctor. And the building, we've doubled the building size. We're about 6,500 square feet now.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, so I just got to ask, how many days a week are you doing this on?
So we see patients about 12 and a half days to maybe 14 days at the most a month. So it's somewhere in that range.
I love it. So I just want everyone out there to hear me. You hear me? If you've talked to me, you've heard me say this, you can have very big, thriving practices on 12 to 14 days a month. You can do it. And Anthony's a perfect example of that. And it really is all about the systems. All right. So that's awesome. I'm just like, wow, how exciting to be at this point. But most docs would be like, hey, Jill, this is good enough. I mean, look at me. I've got a great life. I've got good income. I've got a good team. But that wasn't enough, right? What did you say? There's still more days in the week. I got more time.
The wheels don't stop. So how did SmileSuite come about? So I'm a big proponent of looking outside to plug the holes, right? I think a lot of times we feel like, oh, if it's not an orthodontic industry created product, like I can't use it. And I think when I started off my career, I was looking everywhere to find solutions, to fill the holes of what we needed. And one thing just like a lot of people, when I was presenting payment options, I was using Excel spreadsheets, and I'm a bit of an Excel junkie. I love it. Like Kristen will tell you, if this is an Excel problem, like I get all excited.
He solves it.
Yeah. So I had this very complex Excel spreadsheet for our payment options and discounts and all those things. And I really felt like that was a big part of our success at a certain phase in my career in growing the practice. And it had a lot of rules around it that, I don't know if other practices do, but for me, it fit my practice. It helped us grow. It helped us reduce and limit our discounts and sort of cost control measures that were involved in it. And I was trying to find something that looked better than an Excel sheet. Some of the other slider programs were coming up, but none of them offered the functionality that would meet the needs that I had. So I said, you know what? Maybe I can build it, build something for my practice. So reached out to a developer and started developing this program. And that's how it started. And again, it was really meant to be able to fit my needs as a practice owner and the things that we were doing that were a little bit unique. But, we found that talking to some of my friends, they're like, oh yeah, well, like our slider program doesn't do this and ours doesn't do that. And so I was like, well, maybe there's a need for other practices to have something like this available. So we built some extra tools into it and then, gave it to a couple of friends, like, hey, what do you guys think? And they were like, this is great. So we launched it. And that's how when we launched Startaloo, the first program. I do get asked a lot of questions how we came up with that name. And the honest truth, the absolute honest truth, I'm sitting with my kids at the Cheesecake Factory. And I was like, what do you guys think of a name for this program? And I was like, I think something would start in it. And my son's like, Startaloo. I was like, yeah, that'll work. So that was our research into, seeing what people like. That was it.
Thank you, Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where all dreams come true. So how did it evolve? How did you go from, a souped up Excel program, kind of the basics of management into, I think I might need to do, something with more customer service and, kind of lead me into that. How did you take it to that next level?
Yeah, so we found that we started adding pieces to the Startaloo platform. We added the follow-up piece, and we just found that clients of ours were like, yeah, like it's great. We've got these pieces for our team members to do things, but like they're still not doing it, right? I mean, it's still hard for them to find time in the day. They're busy doing other things. Oh, I'd like them to be doing this instead of, following up on, these patients. And so the question came of like, could we actually outsource it? Could we use our technology, this program we've created to basically funnel in an outsourced team and make it streamlined enough that patients would never know, well, that person wasn't even in the office. So, we kind of just went back to the development board and kind of put it together. And, we launched it in pieces, starting with actually the post-consultation follow-up. And we found it was just really successful. Actually, we had, when I first turned it on into my office, I think we converted about 6 or 7 patients just from this initial group of patients we were kind of practicing on, seeing how this outsourced follow-up would do.
Yeah.
And so then from there, we just broadened it. We said, okay, well, can we handle the entire new patient process all the way from when they call the office to after they are presented treatment on the platform and then they don't schedule their appointment or they don't start? Can we follow up from there? And what we found was really cool is like, yes, we can do it. If we get the right people and we know people who know the industry, we can do it really well. And almost like a specialist, like an orthodontist specialist knows orthodontists. That's why we do it at a higher level than a general dentist may.
Yeah.
If this is all what people are doing, you get really good at it. This is their specialty. Their specialty is taking in new patients, doing it enthusiastically, being accurate, following up on patients. So we found that not only was it something that people were looking for, but we actually could really do it at a high level.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Well, I love this. So I think this kind of leads us, just really perfectly into Kristen. Would you like to demo this for us? I know everyone who's on here is super excited to, find out about, kind of what exactly is this? We've kind of heard the build up to it, but how about you share your screen and really let us see, you know, a little peek behind the curtain into SmileSuite.
Absolutely. I would love it. Let me pull this up here. Okay, here we are. And thank you again for having me on here, Jill. I am excited to talk about all things SmileSuite and to show you all a glimpse of our system is really what it is. Here we are. So we are a concierge system built for orthodontic practices. Like Dr. B had said, we work with your new patients from the moment they reach out, express interest in your practice, all the way through to when they're signing that contract and getting started. We are a team of real people. We know ortho, and this is our wheelhouse and where we live. I'm going to start just by giving you a little bit of a broad overview, and then I'll kind of show you the details and show you bits and pieces of the program here. Now, whenever I speak to anybody that wants to learn about SmileSuite, I find myself saying that our space is within the life cycle of a new patient, right? They first reach out to you, they haven't gotten, started yet, they haven't signed their contract. They can reach out through that conventional phone call, an email, text message. Our SmileSuite team is there 7 days a week, nights and weekends, ready to accept those leads, gather their information, and schedule their appointment.
That's great. And I just got to ask, you said
yeah,
7 days a week live, right? That's awesome.
7 days a week. Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely. Nice weekends, well after your office hours, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We will obtain all of the new patient information. We can send health history forms and even verify your patient's insurance before they come in for their consultation appointment. So it's our goal to have everything ready to go the time they come in for that exam. Now, again, like Dr. B mentioned, the doctor or treatment coordinator would use our presentation suite to go through treatment details, finances, payment plan options, all within the consultation room, right on the screen with the patient there. And if they don't same day start or same day schedule, the SmileSuite team is there for you, following up on those pending patients to see what we can overcome, what questions they have that we can get them to come on in and start treatment. Now, it all starts with that new patient phone call, right? Or web lead, or form fill, or email, however patients choose to reach out. The SmileSuite team will answer those new patient phone calls with your scripting. And I think this is really important for practices that work with consultants such as Jill. You've learned certain scripting. You've learned things that we should be saying to patients, greeting them on the phone. And we want to make sure that we carry that over for you on those new patient phone calls. So part of onboarding will be learning about your practice and incorporating that. Our team knows the industry, just like Dr. B said. They are upbeat, enthusiastic individuals with a history in customer service, orthodontics, even former teachers. So they're all people persons, if that's how you would say it. Yeah. Ready to talk on the phone, ready to engage those patients. And we're really happy to say we are all US based.
That's great. That's great.
Now, this is what I'm showing you here. Kind of step one in this process is the intake form or new patient phone slip. We will ask all of your typical new patient questions, demographic info, contact info, referral sources. We want to gather all of that for you on that new patient phone call. All of those documents and all of that information is displayed right in SmileSuite for your team. It's a really easy to use interface. It is web-based and it is a secure system that your team members can log into and grab that information and pop anything they need to into your practice management software.
Awesome.
Now, like I mentioned before, along with that new patient intake, we do want to gather the patient's insurance information on that phone call. We all know that is a huge part of the new patient process, getting that information and then verifying those benefits to see what may be available before they come in for their consultation. That way you are prepared, your patient has all of the information they need to hopefully make an informed decision to move forward with any treatment recommended. Now, our verification form is very comprehensive. You can see a little snippet sample of that here. And along with that, I would like to add, if patients, on the phone, if they don't have their information handy or available, you wouldn't believe how many people we get on the phone that are driving and they can't read their insurance card. But if they don't have it, we will send them a text, email, or both, asking them to fill it out when it's convenient for them. And I think that's huge, right? Saving team members time and just kind of taking it that next step to try to get that information.
Right. What all treatment coordinators need in order to really help them, when they're in front of the patient, sell that case is, we need all the
Absolutely
possible. So this is great.
Absolutely. And then there's nothing worse as a TC is if you get that information and you find out that it was the medical information and not the dental insurance. And there's no time. There is no time to wait on that new verification when you have precious minutes in that consult room, right? I'm sweating thinking about it.
Me too. I've been there.
Right? Been there. So if that were to happen, our SmileSuite team is on it. We will get it before the visit. We will reach back out to that patient or responsible party to obtain the correct information for you so that you have it all together. So you're hopefully not in that position.
Yeah. So you guys can actually recognize when it's a medical and will rectify that before they even get into the office. Oh, that's great. That's huge.
Absolutely.
That's huge,
Yeah.
Especially for busy practices. Nobody's got time
for sure.
that.
No one's got time for that. Doctor time and all of it is precious, right? Those schedule templates are a very serious thing.
Yes, for sure.
Now, once you have all of that information, you're in that consultation, you're ready to present treatment. And you can do so on our world-class presentation system. We love our presentation tools in SmileSuite. They are really easy to use. The interface is beautiful. We have color photos of various appliances in the system. We have videos, they're explainer videos for some of the most common treatment modalities like, braces, expanders, class 2 appliances. They're beautifully made in here. And it's a great education piece, I think, for patients and parents alike.
Perfect. So if somebody doesn't happen to have an animated system that they're using for presentation tools, and if they do sign up for SmileSuite for the full suite, they're going to be able to have access to this should they want to use it. That's
correct.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
And if they happen to have one that they're using that they like, it's still here. They can just use their other system if they're more familiar with that. That's great.
Absolutely. And that's okay too.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why we put the photos and videos in is because I know there are other, presentation programs, but we found that like parents go home, what do they basically want to know is what did it cost, And so when they're in the portal looking at the fees, we wanted the videos and the photos to kind of also sell the reasoning, the rationale behind it. So it just kind of keeps it all housed in one thing. So I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to add the rationale of why we put photos and videos in there.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great.
Now, moving on here, this will begin the financial aspect of the consultation and presentation. What you see here is the various fees, insurance information, and of course, our really awesome slider system. Now, like Dr. B was explaining before, it was a challenge for him to find, a system and tools that really respected the rules of his practice. And we're really proud to say that in SmileSuite, have yet to find some rules that we can't work with. You'll see in our example here, braces, Delta, 24 months. If you are in network with these insurance companies, you have those contracted fees, you have to offer specific discounts. All of that can be a little bit confusing, and doing the math on a calculator, all of it, on the fly might not be, the nicest presentation. So we can build all of that in on the back end for you. The rules are in, the calculations are done. All you have to do is go in and click the buttons, and it's going to be there for you, which is phenomenal. Same thing holds true with, maximum discount amounts, limits on the number of months, your patient might have to pay for treatment, down payment amounts. All of those are built in and respected throughout the system.
Wow.
This here also shows the presentation PDF printout. Now, like Dr. B started to mention, we do have an at-home portal in SmileSuite, and I'll show you a little bit of that on the next slide. But this PDF printout here, I loved as a TC. I used to call it the golden ticket. I felt like the greatest person handing this to patients, responsible parties, decision makers. It had everything they needed on here. Color photos, again, to go with the price tag of treatment, payment options. All of this can also be digitally sent, right? In the COVID world, you might not be touching so many pieces of paper. So digital is key. You can email this home, text it home, and send it to multiple decision makers.
Great.
And this is part of our at-home portal. So patients, their parents, they can log in securely from home. They can view their treatment presentation again, look at the financial options, their payment options. They can adjust those sliders from the comfort of their own home. And again, doing so will respect all of your practice's rules. So they can't lower the down payment on here. They can't extend the monthlies. Everything is respected throughout. And they can even sign their contract to get started with treatment all from home. Now, if they don't same day start or same day schedule, we know that's the goal, but it doesn't always happen. And if it doesn't, the SmileSuite team is going to be there for you to follow up on your pending patients. We will start the very next day with a phone call, thanking them for their time and seeing if they have questions about treatment or moving forward. We use phone calls, text messages, and emails over the course of 60 days to see what we can do to work together with your practice to get them started at your office.
Wow, and what a time saver. I think this is just so great for our treatment coordinators as well, especially in our busy practices, or even sometimes in our smaller practices where we've got one person doing multiple things in an office. Just to have that security of knowing that the follow-ups are happening, because I know, working with so many doctors for so long, and what do they always want to know? What happened with that one patient? That one patient that came in, did you follow up with them? And if I've got any TCs on here, you've heard that from your docs before. And so I think just being able to know this is happening, go in, you can see when this has happened, what's happening. I think this is just so wonderful for helping our key team members in our office stay focused on what they need to stay focused on. And that's helping us in the TC room to get those starts.
That's right. And that's a great point, Jill. Seeing that it's happening, you have access to all of it. You will see transcripts of any messages that are sent. You'll see notes left by our concierge team members if they had to leave a voicemail or they had a conversation. We message with your office, almost daily, asking questions about, patients, going back and forth. We really are an extension of your team. And just like we'll answer your new patient leads and phone calls 7 days a week, we follow up 7 days a week also. Yeah, so just like you said, saving the time, getting it done.
Yeah, great.
We are real people. The SmileSuite team, is composed of real people Like I said, all based here, all in the States. We know what we are talking about. We love ortho and really enjoy speaking with people, taking those phone calls, and getting the job done. Every patient that says yes to starting feels like a win for us as well as the office.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks so much, Kristen, for going through this for us.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. So as we are, kind of processing everything that Kristen just told us, I want to do a little synopsis. I think just some of the really great things about SmileSuite is, it's not only able to help us when we aren't in the office or when we are in the office and are really busy, because, they're able to capture our new patient phone calls, schedule those calls for us, through an automated scheduling system, follow up with the patients beforehand, follow up with them after. And if you want to be able to use that fee presentation tool, or you want to be able to use the automation tool to just help, I think it's just a really great all-inclusive package. And yet it's a team member that you're paying for that isn't necessarily in your office, but still an extension of your team. So good job, guys. I think this is, again, great, and why I was super excited to be able to partner with you guys, because I just see our industry needs this. Our team members need the help, and these are the little things that take their eye off of the ball that we can help with on the back end. So I think that's great. So we're going to have a little bit of fun here. I'm calling this my Hey Docs speed round. So Anthony, I'm going to ask you just a few questions, and then we're going to jump into our Q&A and call it a wrap for tonight. So are you ready? Do you accept the Hey Doc Speed Challenge?
I'm a little worried.
You actually should be. You actually should be. All right, here we go. So what is your favorite ice cream?
Anything with peanut butter in it.
Ever worn socks with sandals?
In the house or out of the house? Never out of the house.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Ooh. Almost offended you put them both in the same category. Star Wars.
What? I'm just kidding. Is double dipping ever acceptable?
Only if it's me.
All right. Do you wear your retainer every night?
Every night. Big time grinder.
How would you rate your karaoke skills on a scale of 1 to Beyonce?
Ooh. Is 0 an option?
All right, we know where you land. You're not my partner at the next karaoke. Are tomatoes a fruit or a vegetable?
Oh, vegetable. Vegetable. I'd never put fruit on my salad. No
strawberries? Come on. What show have you been watching?
Yellowstone.
What podcast, audio, music have you been listening to? Podcast can be audio, can be music, can be a podcast.
I really like How I Built This, which is on NPR. Yeah.
Love that one. Love that one.
It's inspiring.
And then your big, hairy, audacious goal for 2022.
Oh, wear sandals more with socks. Watch more Star Trek. No.
Oh gosh.
I don't know. Just to, you know what? I enjoy what I do, and I just hope I can keep that going.
Awesome. Awesome. All righty. All right. Okay. So let's kind of jump into any questions that there might be coming in. So we're going to look here at the Q&A here, and let's just see if I can see any. All righty. Looks like what I see is, okay, here we go. We've got one. Does the SmileSuite Concierge team speak Spanish, or is it English only?
I'll take that one. So we have bilingual team members on our concierge team. So we do have very fluent Spanish and English team members. They can talk it, they can text it, write it.
Love it. That's great. All right, we had another one come in. What if I only want some of the features and not the full suite?
Yeah, so SmileSuite is priced, I think, brilliantly. You only pay for what you need. So our packages are such that it's on a per lead basis and it can grow with your practice.
Got it. Okay, great. Oh, looks like there's another one coming in. All right, here we go. Where is the SmileSuite concierge team located?
So we are all in the United States. Currently, the majority of our team members are actually in the tri-state.
Oh, okay. And here's another one. Are you dealing with insurance billing also on top of verification?
We are not. We will verify the insurance benefits, but we do not bill for services.
Got it. Okay. All righty. And looks like we have another one coming in. Do you have a timeline for offering the concierge services in Canada?
You want to take that one, Dr. B?
We've gotten asked this many times.
We have.
I love it. Love it.
So to be honest, we would love to. We do. I'm going to say, I don't know if it's on the near horizon. We have to, obviously we're HIPAA compliant. We have to be TCPA compliant. So there's a lot of aspects that we delve into that we haven't really gotten into some of the Canadian laws and making sure that we're fully compliant there. So we can offer our software there, but as of right now, we don't offer the concierge in Canada.
Okay, great. Great. All righty. And looks like there might be another one. Sorry, I'm looking down at my my screen here. Looks like another one. How does your fee schedule work?
Our pricing, that is?
Yeah, it looks like I'm going to assume so.
Oh, okay, perfect. So we do have a setup fee. So there will be a one-time setup fee. And then pricing thereafter is just on a month-to-month basis. It's a straightforward report. However many leads come in, we basically just multiply that by whatever price point package you have. And then you can think the insurance verification piece almost as an a la carte service. So it's a little something in addition to the lead intake and the full suite that we offer. And there is also software only, like Dr. B had mentioned.
Yeah, great. So you can really customize this to what your practice needs are. It isn't take it all or don't take any of it, which, was another thing that I just thought was great too, because not everybody has a budget to do everything or needs to do everything. You may have some complementary programs that you're using that you really like. And I think this can just fit really nicely a lot of times if you want just certain components. So that's great. Well, I am not seeing, I'll give it just a second or two more, but I'm really not seeing, doesn't look like we have any more questions come in. If any do, I'll definitely hit them here in a minute, but I'll go ahead and kind of wrap us up. So, I'm super excited. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I really feel like we had a great session tonight. I'm super excited, Dr. B, to find out, and for everybody to kind of see where you went to where you are now, to hear about the inception of SmileSuite and, how we, how you were able to kind of bring this on and saw the need for it in our industry. And I really think this is one of those products that is going to be a part of changing our industry and just continuing to make it better. Before we go, I want to let everybody who is still on know that SmileSuite is offering the attendees of the webinar 5 free units. And so what that means is you can kind of talk to Kristen about that, but you're gonna get 5 free units of So of the product, whether you are a new client or a current client, which is super excited for anybody that may be a current client on here. So I want you to just reach out to Kristen at getsmilesuite.com. Shoot them an email at info@getsmilesuite.com and let them know that you were on the Hey Docs webinar, and you will get those 5 units. So if you've enjoyed this webinar, you will be excited to know that this series is also going to be available as a podcast this fall, which I am super excited to be being able to bring to our industry. And don't forget to like and follow Jill Allen and Associates, and for more content and resources. So until next time, everybody, cheers and thank you for being a part of the first Hey Docs webinar. See everybody later.